Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new class. Today, we're gonna finish our topic about past continuous. Do you remember that on the last classes, when we talked about simple past and past continuous, we said that they were used when we told stories? Telling stories is one very important part of language. Why? Because all the time we are doing this. So, for example, I just said, eu disse agora, eu acabei de falar sobre nossa aula da semana passada. When I did this, I told a story. So I used the simple past and I used past continuous. We are doing this all the time. We are always telling stories. And today, we're gonna learn a little bit more about telling stories. Of course, this is an English course and not a creative writing course. So I won't be able to explain to you 100% of the things you need to know to tell a story. But we can divide in four important points about this topic. They are introductions, pronouns, verbs, and time expressions. By the end of all this explanation, we will improvise a story using all of this. So first of all, we have introductions that it states the way of introducing a story. Nowadays, you can start your story however you want. There are no rules. But if we talk about classical ways of telling a story, normally we will have a very characteristic introduction. The very first one introduction we have here is the most classic of all times. It's the famous Once Upon a Time. It's the most famous way of starting a story. Em português é o nosso Era uma vez. So it's the most famous one. Once upon a time, there was a lady in the lake and whatever. So this is a very, very classical way of starting a story. But today they use in a funny way. Hoje eles usam muito Era uma vez como se fosse uma brincadeira ou em histórias de criança, assim, focadas em crianças bem pequenas. But this is the first one. Once upon a time. A long time ago. This is a very classical way also of introducing a story. If you go to, for example, Star Wars, which is a very, very famous movie series, they always start with a long time ago in a galaxy far away. So a long time ago, or 1,000 years ago, or 3 years ago, 3 days ago, is a very good way of telling the reader that when your story is happening. So you can say a long time ago, 3 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Anyway, the important part is this ago, which says how much time was it? In a place far, far away. This is classical in English literature, principally when you're talking about fantasy or medieval fantasy, more saying, because you show the reader from the very beginning that you are talking about somewhere different, a place of magic, a place very, very far away. The second one are the pronouns. Why the pronouns are so important? Because normally, your story will have one central pronoun, which is the person who is telling the story. You have two principals pronoun, and normally almost 100% of the books, of the stories, the short stories, they use one of these two central pronoun. You have the I. If you are the one telling the story, if I am telling the story, my central pronoun is the I. Once upon a time, I was walking in a bridge, etc. So this is one of the two most used pronouns as a central pronoun. The second one is, it's the he or she. Normally you say he, she, it, but it's very hard for you to see a story in which an it tells it. Normally it's a person, so normally it's a he or she. In a place far, far away, she was a very important king. A queen, I'm sorry. She was a very important queen. She helped the peasants, blah, etc. So normally you have a central pronoun. Why is that important? Because this central pronoun is the person, is the subject for which the verbs will work. Então, se você tem um eu como pronome central, ou um ele ou ela como pronome central, se você tem a primeira pessoa ou a terceira pessoa na sua narrativa, são eles que vão modificar o verbo, tanto em português quanto em inglês. Por isso é muito importante saber qual é o pronome central para você continuar a história gramaticalmente correto, da melhor maneira que você puder. The third thing are the verbs. I'm not gonna define the verbs that you need to use. I'm gonna tell you the two verbal times you can use in story. They are the most normal, and I've never seen stories going in a different verbal way than these two. They are the present. You can tell a story using the present of your verbal time. It's very common, actually. It's not the most common, but it's common for you to tell stories in the present. I think, personally, I think it's strange for you to use the present, but anyway, you can do that. Eu já escrevi histórias no presente também. Eu acho estranho, mas eu já escrevi também. Depende muito do que você quer com sua história. But the present is an option. And the second one, naturally, is the past, which is our focus in our classes. Because we are working with past, simple past, past continuous. So the stories we're gonna make are going to be in the past. All right? I'm just showing you that there is present as an option for you to learn more about telling stories in English. And the last thing of this list are the time expressions. Again, of course, these are not the only time expressions we are gonna use or we have as an option, but I brought some that are very, very used in stories. We have ago that we already talked about here a long time ago, 3 years ago, 3 days ago, 7 hours ago. You use ago to talk about the time that it passed since something happened. You have suddenly. Suddenly is when something happens, well, suddenly. For example, I was walking in the street when suddenly Mary appeared. Então eu não estava esperando Maria aparecer, mas de repente ela apareceu. This is suddenly. If you go to then, we it's almost the same thing as suddenly. They are very similar. Then from suddenly. The thing is, suddenly you have the surprise. Bam. And on them, you don't have that much. I was walking on the street, then Mary showed up. See the difference? I was walking on the street, suddenly Mary appeared. I was walking on the street, then Mary appeared. This is the difference, the intensity. While and when we already saw on last class, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. You have while and you have when. Se vocês tiverem com dúvida com while e com when, dão uma assistida no meu último vídeo, no vídeo do Past Continuous, que explico direitinho quando você usar when e quando você usar while. And you have all of sudden, which is the same thing as suddenly. Você pode usar suddenly or all of a sudden, they are the same, they are similar, they are just, they mean the same. Anyway. So what's the idea now? We're gonna use all of these parts, the introductions, pronouns, verbs, and time expressions to tell two different improvised stories. Okay, we're gonna select now one part of each for us to make our first story, and then one part of each to make our second story. So for the first story, I'm gonna use in a place far, far away. He and she. I'll use past because we are gonna work with past, and I'm gonna use all of a sudden. Okay? These others, we're gonna leave here. This no, we're not gonna use the present. So anyway, I'm gonna just delete this. And these time expressions I'm gonna put here because we're not using them now. Let's go to our improvised story. Okay, here we have our part. Our story is gonna begin like that, in a place far, far away. It's gonna be in the past. Mas como essa palavra past não vai aparecer, vou botar aqui em cima só pra gente lembrar que é o passado. Vou botar aqui, na verdade. And in a place far, far away, I'm gonna put a she here, and all of a sudden. Let's think of a story. In a place far, far away, she was collecting berries. Right? She was collecting berries. Actually, it's not collecting, it's picking berries. Eu não estou fazendo cortes dessa vez, porque eu quero mostrar para vocês que foi tudo improvisado. In a place far, far away, she was, tá vendo que aqui tá passado? She was picking. And if it has was an ing form, this is past continuous, okay? Pay attention to that. So in a place far, far away, she was picking berries. All of a sudden, da-na-na, a goblin appeared. So this is our story. In a place far, far away, introduction, she, this is the pronoun, it's third person, was picking berries, past continuous. All of a sudden, time expression, a goblin appeared. Are you seeing ed here? This is past. Which past? Simple past. Então vocês estão vendo que o past continuous virou um contexto. Isso estava acontecendo quando um goblin apareceu, e isso aqui interrompeu o past continuous, então, portanto, é um past simple. Okay, first story was this. I'm gonna put this here. Actually, we're gonna delete this because too many stuff here. And to our second story, we're gonna use once upon a time. I is gonna be the past, of course. Once upon a time, I, and when. This is gonna be our time expression. Same thing, no cuts, because I'm gonna show you this is improvised. So we have once upon a time, I, blah, 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 and then when, our time expression. Let's go. Once upon a time, I was running from a dog. Okay. Once upon a time, I was running from a dog. Was plus ing. This is past continuous. Once upon a time, I was running from a dog when, da-da-da, when my computer saved me. I don't know. This was improvised, but there we go. Once upon a time, I was running from a dog when my computer saved me. You see, this is past continuous, was running, and then this action is cut by this action. My computer saved me. See, ed, this is simple past. Introduction, pronoun, first action, time expression, second action. All right? So this is all about, not all, but anyway, telling stories. And for you to practice homework, essa é a nossa tarefa de casa, é o Reading Worksheet, é o único link que está na descrição aqui embaixo. Vocês têm que dar uma lida, vocês têm que responder as perguntas. E aqui, tá vendo? A 2, write a story about a situation in which you felt angry, embarrassed, excited, or scared. So you have to write a story. Essa 3 aqui é uma coisa que nós vamos fazer única e exclusivamente na aula durante nossa live class. Alright? So, thank you for this class. It was awesome. See you our live class. Bye bye.